John, I'm sorry, do I pronounce your name correctly? I'm not sure. Okay. John, will you be with us today as well?
Yes เชิญหม่อมค่ะ please go on please
Okay. All right, I think last week we talked about, there was several very, very really good factors that we talked about last week. And I think when Maeve asked a question about is it true? And we asked, I think a good way of asking about that and really thinking about is it true is to really think deeply, or what they call picharana in Thai, about that. And sorry, something comes up all the time on my screen here. Okay. To think deeply about, because with our own thinking, that is the thinking that goes on, that there are conditions to think deeply about the question. When other conditions are right, the right conditions come along, there will be some insight as to an answer to that question. And the answer will differ over the years. Should we ask the same question many, many, many times over the years, the answer will differ slightly, because if there, as I don't want to say we, but if there is a following of the path, there will be greater incremental insights, small, tiny incremental insights that will make the answers to that question more fully full understanding of it. So that's I think, so from my perspective, that was a very good way for Ajahn to promote a topic to think deeply about. What is your anybody in the group, what is your feeling about that?
คุณฮัน what's your opinion
See who else is with us.
Oh yeah, Chuck, are you asking me?
Azita's with us too.
Oh.
And Jyotika is with us. Who's speaking now? I can't see. Han, are you speaking?
No, I'm listening, but it's a little bit unclear. Yes, but I'm clear now. Yes, sorry. It's quite noisy from my side. Yes.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any ideas? Or why don't you think about that during the course of our discussions here today, and see if you come up with some ideas. I'll read the last bit of my notes that I wrote about it. As I just said, it's small and incremental steps of understanding, and each of us, not us, each has a level of understanding that's very different, at different levels, and each of us, we understand the level that is understandable at our level. So I like the idea, one can ask questions of oneself as part of the considering. Is that true? Is that not true? What does that really mean? And so forth. And these are ways in that could arise in the mind in the course of deeply considering, deeply contemplating about whatever we are learning. Again, depending on the conditions that arise to cause the thoughts to arise. Gabby, do you have a question? Because you look kind of, what is she talking about? Okay. Gabby, are you there? Turn on your microphone, Gabby.
Yes, I'm on. Good
Hi,
morning.
how are you?
Yes, thank you. Well, I have another question,
Okay.
which pops up several times. And I don't know if I have the right answer. It was a question to Nina by Ajahn, and she asked her, are you ready for a new personality?
John asked that.
And I think, well, I thought there is no person. So what is ready for a new personality must be a Dhamma. And I guess it's Nama.
Yes.
Probably Chuti Chitta, which is ready for the next personality.
Yes, it prepares the way for the Patisandhi, so the next person.
Okay. Maybe Ajahn can explain a little bit more, because she asks the question, and I know that she doesn't ask a question without meaningful explanations to it. Thank you.
Good question too. John, would you care to comment, please?
Yes, because everyone has to die, right? Any moment, unknown, unexpected at all, because each moment is unexpected, all by conditioned for whatever is there, just in a moment. That's why we live in the world of no understanding of what is there as it is. Ignorance about what is there appearing. We just talk about the story of what is there as I and someone and some events and situation and so on. But what is the truth of just what is there in a moment? To really understand the truth, the nature of that which is there as it is. For example, at moment of not die yet, there must be moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, on and on, all day, from day to day. But what is it? Birth and death. See, not anyone was born or died, but what is it? No matter when, birth or death, or between birth and death, it's there. Can it be known as it is, as it's not permanent at all? And what is there has to be conditioned, otherwise nothing can arise without its proper conditions. For example, seeing, who no one can make it arise at all, but it's there already by conditions. No one expects to have it arise at such and such moment, but it's there already by condition. Even each moment of the sound is heard as the word and on and on. Each moment is conditioned. Never be the same, never last. It's gone. So very quickly, beyond anyone can realize the truth, because the next one is there after the first one gone. Instantly. That's why no understanding of the truth of the first moment, and then on and on and on until death is there, unknown at all. The moment of birth is unknown, and the moment of death is also unknown. It's just like any moment right now, conditioned. And moment of seeing and moment of hearing quite so apart. So many jittas in between unknown. So the unknown jitta in between that which is experienced through the sixth doorway can be moment of birth and death. So what is I or someone? For example, as soon as it's there by conditions, it's gone, never to return at all, never to arise again, no matter it's what, seeing, hearing, hardness, sound, smell, or anything. That's why, does anyone realize the truth that there is no permanent being, no rose, no bed, no sky, no moon at all? Only that which is conditioned to arise and gone unknowingly until there is the understanding of the truth of each one. For example, seeing right now is not hearing, and they gone. So what are they? Not anyone at all, not permanent thing at all. It's only condition, moment arising and falling away, on and on, non-stop, as long as there are conditions for whatever arises, it arises. Is that true? We just learn to understand what life is. Without this moment, can there be life? And it's so short. When we think about moment to moment, life is so short, just in a moment. And they cannot be controlled. They have to arise by conditions from this moment to another moment, different ones all the time. So is it the Arya Satya, the truth, the ultimate truth, or what is more truth than this? That's why when we don't understand the truth which can be realized, there can't be the idea of someone and something, because what appears in Tipitaka, it said, it appears by nimitta, as a nimitta, as something right now. So begin to consider what is there right now. It's there by conditions. Without the eye base or the rupa, pasata rupa, that can never be seen right now, this moment at all. And what conditions such rupa, different from other rupa, and so on. Only the enlightened one, supreme understanding of the truth, not just think about it or consider it, but realizing the nature of it directly. And what he said after his enlightenment, all dhammas mean whatever is real. All dhammas are anatta, not anyone, not anything. It doesn't belong to anyone at all, because it's gone. Before seeing, there's no seeing, never to arise again. Is that true? Begin to understand what is taken for something that is not there anymore. Each moment gone. Condition the other moment instantly, on and on and on. No one and no permanent thing at all. So what is the what do you say, worth to be there, just arise and falls away by conditions. No one can live forever. No one can have that which has gone to arise again, to be one's own, because actually what is taken for something is only that which is known by only that which arises to experience that. For example, what is there seen without that which sees it? How can it be that seen? Just understand the truth, that's all. And right understanding works its way to understand better and better, clearer and clearer, to realize the truth by conditions. Is that true?
It is true. what we have heard and we are confident in. But it's not yet enough panya there.
Is there enough confidence of panya, right understanding, that it develops, it can build up, it can progress little by little from no understanding of what is there now. There is a moment of beginning to understand that seeing is not that which is seen. And in one's life, attention is only to that which appears, which is experienced. But the reality which experiences it, that we use the word nama or citta, does not appear at moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking in a day, right? It's hidden because that which is experienced appears as nimitta of one reality, of one thing, taking it for something instantly. The example is that just close one's eyes now, that which is seen gone, all of them never appear at all. How come? And that which is now appearing has to impinge on the ideas. Otherwise, seeing cannot arise to see it. So what is the now? It's seeing by that which is conditioned to arise to see. So in truth, there are realities which experience the object, arise to experience the object, and the reality which arises but cannot experience anything at all, no matter in what world, no matter at what moment. So where am I? What can be I? The I base, Jakupasatha Rupa, is there by conditioned, seeing, sees and then gone. How can it be I of someone? And that which is seen also gone. Sight is not sound. They are true. They are different by conditions. They are conditioned to arise and then gone instantly. Instantly, so very short. That's why we can talk about moment and split moment, split second moment. Is that true? It's true. Just learn to understand more in life. Is there all the time. What we are talking about is infinity. Every moment. This moment is gone. Each moment. So it can be tomorrow. Otherwise, how can be tomorrow if it's still there? Does it bring joy to understand the truth? Otherwise, ignorance, no understanding at all of the truth of that which is there, appearing as not it is at all. Just learn to understand the truth. It doesn't hurt at all. Understanding it, what is true and what is not true. That's all. And understanding is much better than ignorance. Ignorance conditions more selfishness, thinking just about oneself, blame the others. But what at moment of blaming the others? Is it wholesome? We think about the others' wholesomeness, akusala. What is there at that moment of thinking of the others' akusala? To be friendly or hate? What is better? understanding that actually no one, it's only different realities arising by conditions, anatta. Nothing can be done, no one can do anything because actually what is taken for I gone. It can never be someone or something at all. Is that right? It's gone. Each moment is gone. Until the end of Dhamma, which conditioned to be this person only, short or long, depending on conditions. So, what is most precious moment in life before death?
The moment with Panya.
Yes, a moment of more understanding. It let go all kinds of akusla because it knows no one. It's only conditioned by such and such wholesome reality or unwholesome realities. Be truthful to the truth, that's all. So, beginning to understand what is taken for me or I from birth up to now, understanding the difference between ignorance and understanding, right understanding. Right understanding doesn't harm even the feeling. It doesn't bring the unpleasant feeling because it understands feeling and understands everything as it is. Like or dislike, memory or sadness and so on, it cannot arise at all without conditions for its arising at such moment. Not by anyone, because actually there's no one. But there are conditions for whatever arising now, on and on and on, all by conditions. That's why there are 6 hetu, kusala 3 and kusala 3. Loba, dosa, moha, aloba, adosa, amoha. These roots for whatever is there in life, kusala or akusala moment. And its results in a day appears now, seeing pleasant or unpleasant object, hearing pleasant or unpleasant object, smelling pleasant or unpleasant object. No choice, by conditions, by hetu, kusala hetu or akusala hetu. Because the vipaka depends on the cause. When the cause is unwholesome, how can it condition pleasant object to be known in a day or by conditions? But it depends on right understanding of each moment. For example, at moment of receiving something pleasant, is it time to have molopa? Or is it time to appreciate the giver's kusala? How long to have that to give to someone? So the person who thinks about the giver, receive it pleasantly, appreciate it, so that the giver's giving is joyful, and thinking about the result of that wholesome kusala moment. If we do not receive, he wouldn't have such wholesome vipaka. See, so many things to learn about in life, to understand whether it's with kusala or akusala. So at the moment of receiving something nice from someone, it's time to appreciate the other's wholesomeness, wholesome moment, and appreciate or be joyful at moment when the result of that gift is conditioned for that karma. Even right now in life, there can be more understanding of what is wholesome and what is unwholesome. But it's so very, very delicate or very, very subtle. Only right and careful considering can consider it more and more and more to understand what is there behind such and such deeds and speech. But the truth is so very, very subtle to be known. For example, no one doubt about seeing, it's that seeing, but no understanding of the truth, the ultimate truth of what is seeing. Even it sees now. See, no thought about it until hearing about the truth of it, consider it, understanding it, that in a day what is experienced just appear, but that which experiences cannot appear when the object which is experienced appear. That's why I see, I hear, I know, I like. I is there when there's no understanding of that which just arises to experience the object as the chief of the reality which experiences the object. It does not like at moment of seeing, it just sees. We learn a little more of each different moment. Never enough to understand the truth. That's why it needs wholesome moments. Otherwise, there must be only unwholesome moments in a day, more and more and more. So the understanding, the panya, is parami, which condition other paramis too, because it knows what is wholesome and what is unwholesome. For example, giving, dana, giving things away for the others' benefit. Only that, no expectation at all. Just for that person whom is given. And abhaya, forgiveness. When someone think about what has been done to us by such and such words or deeds, is there any forgiveness? Because in truth, one just lives in one's own world. Just seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. No one there at all. And in truth, even seeing is not anyone. It's not just that which is taken for someone is there, but the moment of taking that which appears as someone is also oneself. So anatta or dhammas are anatta. It's not just to talk or to say, but to understand the truth a little more, developed on and on, firmer and firmer, to be Adidana Barami, Satya Barami, Viriya Barami, Nekama Barami. Each one is the support for right understanding to develop when there's no akusla, ignorance. And this is more precious than just think about the word, many words of Dhamma, Citta and Cittasika and Ayata and so on. And what is the point? To understand that they are so very subtle because just one word is not yet directly experienced. For example, seeing right now, we just talk about a reality. For sure it's there. A reality arises, otherwise it's not there. And just arise to see, to experience that which impinges on the ideas, and then gone. It's not known from birth to death. If there's no word about it, that it's there in life, from the first moment of life to the end of life. It does not appear to be known, even it's there each moment. Why? When the object which is experienced is there appearing, the reality which experiences it cannot appear. Only one reality appears. For example, at moment when sound appears, hearing cannot appear. So imagine when hearing appears, quite different from sound. When seeing appears, quite different from the object which is seen. So all dhammas are anatta. Learn little by little to let go wrong understanding and ignorance, clinging so much to that which appears. Any time of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, all day, all life, every life, each moment, see how much ignorance. That's why it's the dark world, so very dark, without light of understanding the truth. Unknown, it seems like every day is light, and that which appears, red color or whatever, sound and so on, but not permanent at all. So just understand the truth and then consider carefully, and if it to be not forgotten, each word which has been studied has to be unforgotten. So now, to be truthful is what we have heard has been not forgotten, hasn't been forgotten, or when the understanding is not firm enough, what is there appears as something with the idea of permanent or mind. So when there is the basic understanding of the truth, no matter what is there, the characteristic of that which is there appears, and in the Tipitaka say, not as it is. What is seen is someone or something, not as it is. So in truth, when the truth of this moment appears, it appears in darkness because many processes which is not that which is seen. What is seen is only one doorway, and what now is not only seeing, hearing, thinking, and so on, in darkness. So learn to understand the truth, just understanding it, not my understanding. It is the reality which understands, and it develops each moment. And this is the path, the noble truth, the last one. So very subtle, nothing to be done, but right understanding is there, the first Magga, Sammatiti. Right understanding is there, develop on and on and on, stage by stage. Is it there now? Appears not as it is, no matter what.
There is still ignorance, Ajahn.
Yes, please say it again.
There is still ignorance.
Certainly, but less and less when there is the understanding. Only the moment of understanding and firm confidence of the truth is the way for right understanding to develop, to directly understand what is there now as it is, little by little. Hardness appears, no, not time to understand it directly as it has arisen, it's hard and then gone. Why it's gone? They're seeing and hearing and thinking, so how can hardness be there at the same moment of seeing and hearing? So very subtle. That's why learn to understand what is the ultimate truth. For example, without that which is seen on and on and on, can there be the sun, the moon, the tree, street, house, curtain, and so on? Not at all. How rapidity is that which arises and falls away in succession, now unknown. Only right understanding begin to consider the truth until it hasn't been forgotten of each reality, each word about the truth. What appears now only very shortly, because seeing is not thinking about shape and form as something. Seeing just see that which impinges on the eye base or Chakku Prasada. How little one dot cannot be a curtain, a glass, or anything at all. So begin to understand that the truth is so very subtle. It can be directly, it can be studied little by little because it's there. So to be truthful is that which is there, is that which is there known? Not yet, but learn to understand that it's real. And what can be realized, that its truth, it has to be right there as the object of that which experiences it. So many realities unknown, taught by the enlightenment to begin to be truthful to the truth. How many kinds of akusala and how many kinds of kusala and so on. No one there at all. And seeing, just seeing, is conditioned to see, so it cannot be kusala or akusala. But seeing different objects, how come? By conditions. This is the path to realize the truth, the first noble truth. What is that arising and falling away? It's uncontrollable. No one there at all. Is it firm enough? Until it's firm by conditions, not by trying so hard to have it realized. Impossible. Because wishing and ignorance cannot understand the truth. it hinders instantly when it's there. That's why so many degrees of all kinds of reality. Attachment now is unknown, but when it's strong, it's known. See? And whether it's strong enough to take the other's property or speak badly, harshly, but all by conditions. Begin to understand the truth, that's all. And seeing the precious moment of understanding condition more interest to understand the truth, to let go ignorance and attachment to that which is not there anymore. If it's not now, when will it be? No expectation. It's only by conditions. Pariyati, listen, very wise or very considerate. This is the way to pay respect to the enlightened one for his words about the truth. To be truthful to the truth. Little by little, it develops from moment, only one moment, to another moment. So each moment is very important. It conditions the next moment firmer. When it's careful, considering to be not forgotten. And how much accumulation of ignorance and attachment and all kinds of akusala in life years and years, uncountable years ago. That's why learn stage by stage intellectual understanding about the reality, which is represented by a word. For example, hearing. It's there, no understanding of it, but it can be understood. There must be sound, and sound cannot appear if there's no reality which experiences it. Otherwise, even if there no any moment of experiencing it, how can it appear? So life is just the reality which experiences an object, now seen, heard, for example, and the reality which arises by conditions, but it cannot experience anything at all. Only that, in short. And understanding is moment of letting go, ignorance and attachment, even just very little, but it has to be from moment to moment. Very subtle development of each moment of understanding. So now we are talking about the truth of what is there appearing. To have firm confidence of the nature of the reality which now appears just in a moment.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Appreciate the wholesome moment. And we can talk about anything to begin to understand the nature of it, which is so subtle, little by little, at a time.
Does anybody have any comments they would like to, questions they would like to ask Ajahn, or comments to the wonderful explanation that you just gave? That anything, any thought that arises in mind can be a condition for deep thought about the nature of realities, about anatta, anicca, and dukkha.
I suppose it goes back to your original question. When we hear the words, be truthful to the truth, or is it true? That seems to boil down to that when it's there, and when it's not there, it's not there. So that if taste appears now, it's there, and when it's not there, it's gone. And if it's sound now, it's there. So if the sound now, it's true. And when there's no sound, it's not there. So it's not true. So we listen to words which represent the truth of what this moment is. And this is what being truthful to the truth means. Whether it's true is because that word describes accurately what life is right now, a reality. And when that reality is there, it's there. So there's no arguments. But in order to understand that, one has to understand what is meant by a reality, not a tree or not a curtain, but a Dharma, what is seen. So it's not so straightforward. So as Gabby was saying in the beginning, we're guessing that it's true, but it has to be a development over a long period of time. So yes, it just comes down to when a reality is there, it is there. That's how I see the being truthful to the truth. Well, what do you think about that, Betty?
Well, I mean, realities are appearing every nanosecond all throughout a day, but there's no awareness of the realities all the time. So there must be an awareness or a thought about the reality that is appearing. For instance, anything that's going on in a lifetime, for instance, just sitting here looking at everybody on the Zoom in the computer, there can be thought is what actually is visible object, what actually is sound of hearing object, is sound, what actually is sound, what actually is a reality, what actually, how do these realities interact? And when there is at least a pariyati level of understanding, you know, the most basic level, the book learning understanding, from there can be a growth of the understanding at the higher and higher levels when there is the thinking, the consideration, the picharana in Thai of what is happening at any particular moment. Um, I have a friend I feel very sorry for, because this person has no concept of what she's doing. She has no concept. Not no. Let me amend that. She has no concept of words that she might use that affect other people. She has absolutely no concept of that. She cannot discern, or at least, or she closes her mind to not discern any how people would react to things she says or does. And I find this I find this absolutely amazing. How I feel sorry for her, because when when her mind is in that kind of a state, there's no way for her to have a growth of understanding of realities, even if she read about it and had at least a little modicum of pariyati understanding. So the mind also has to be, there has to be an openness to be aware of one's behavior, one's speech, what one is observing, what one is hearing, and so forth. So that, and the more one has an experience of being aware of, sorry, okay, got a phone on there. All right. Um, the more there is an experience of being aware of a reality, or being aware of what is happening at a particular moment, the more there can be thought about that, and the more there can be a development of understanding.
I think that we're all like your friend to some degree or other, because we all do get involved in these thoughts, maybe thoughts of ill will, or just thoughts of not considering other people. To some extent, it might be a few seconds until we get woken up by kusala, wholesomeness.
Exactly.
So
That's all she
yeah,
needs. That's right.
yes,
One time for that to happen lays down conditions, sets up conditions for it to happen again, where there can be an
yeah.
awareness of what's happening.
And I think going back to the truth is that there are many levels of that. And then in the beginning, we hear about
Yes.
anatta, and that's a very deep subject. But we can begin to understand immediately that actually anger arises whether we like it or not. And when it's strong, we know it's there, and we know that we didn't choose to have it. It's just there, and we can't get rid of it. And this is about a sort of low level understanding of anatta. And it's the same with everything else. It cannot be controlled. You have the unpleasant feeling because there's an unpleasant sound.
But if
And this could be,
they're aware that anger has arisen, and we know anger is a kusala, there may be at the same time, because of the awareness of that it's a kusala, there may be another thought arising that says, "Oh, this is no good. Don't do it. Anger's no good. Don't do it," or something like that.
yes, it depends on the level. But even at a very, even reading the first sermon of the Buddha, there's an awful lot there that one can begin to understand is true. That
That's
you're unhappy when you don't get what you want, and you don't get what you want, you can't always have what you want, and you're unhappy when you lose what you like. So there are many
that's
different levels of understanding. Be truthful to the present moment. It can be, you can have confidence almost from some degree of confidence growing from the very beginning, because it's just true in daily life at some level.
That's true. That's very true. And so there with to be at least one time aware of the awareness of a mental state, say, that is arising in the mind. That's probably easy. I know for me, being aware of a mental state is a far more occurs far more often than being aware of a rupa, say. You know, I don't think I ever really am aware of a rupa outside of the body. Rupas out there. Never, I mean, there only is awareness of them in the panyati state, you know, and I was, oh, that's a flower, that's this, all those things with shape and form. But very rarely is there ever a thought of or arising about being aware of the true nature of a rupa, not a rupa, I'm sorry, a rupa.
So, Alan, as you say, there are many levels of being truthful with truth, and it corresponds with a level of understanding. So, even if there's, after hearing about awareness, some understanding that there is no awareness, that's being truthful to the truth, to that on that level.
Yes, and even awareness itself, there has to be the being truthful to the truth means knowing the difference between when there is awareness and when there is no awareness, because unless there is that truthfulness, it can't develop because you don't know the difference. So there's a difference between hand and hardness, and you need to be truthful to whether that reality of hardness is there or not in order for this understanding to develop. So it has to be the awareness which is involved with being truthful to the truth. Is there awareness now or not? Is there taste now? Yeah.
And awareness is different levels. You were pointing out that awareness, that's direct understanding, but it has to start with intellectual understanding. So even knowing that there's no awareness at the intellectual level is still a level of being truthful to the truth. Of course, when it's direct understanding, knowing moments, the difference between moments when there's awareness and not, that's direct understanding. So that's even more truthful, you can say, to the truth.
Yes, it's a very long path to develop. Being truthful to the truth is something which develops very, very slowly. And I think in the beginning, everybody will go wrong to some extent, because you do try. It's natural to want to try, for example, isn't it? So, yeah, it's something which develops little by little over a very long period of time.
And realizing that you're wrong is being truthful.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So you can see how important that parami is, the being truthful with what this present moment is, being very straight to what life is now. That's because if that's not there, then nothing can develop.
And I think that it's come down to the what Dhamma is truthful to the truth is actually come down to right understanding, because right understanding Dhamma, how it is. And when we say being truthful to the truth is actually means panya only, because panya understand the reality of how it is. And the nature of panya is being truthful to the truth. So yeah, whenever whenever right understanding develop, actually that moment is also being truthful to the truth. Without panya, I think you can't be truthful to the truth, because there's no right understanding about anything.
No, and it has to be that's why Ajahn says constantly, nothing to be done, because actually it's only the understanding which can condition the development. Otherwise, it's self or someone trying, which will not work. So, and that's, I guess, the subtlety of the path, because we don't know what it is, we don't understand. So we just have to listen and consider. And then it always pops up that we understand something that we haven't understood before, little by little. So yes, that is what has to be done. It just has to be the understanding growing little by little by conditions, because no choice really as to whether you're in a position to be able to hear the right words even. So yeah, it has to be just understanding.
No,
That's the development.
yeah, even if we say truthful to the truth, but what Dhamma is truthful to the truth also, we have to specific is actually it's panya at the end. Is if it's not panya, then it's not truthful to the truth.
Yes, and I remember Sarah said something that you cannot trust your own thinking. It's why we need to discuss a lot and to listen a lot and to ask questions a lot, because actually, left to our own thinking, will go wrong, because you can't, because most of the time we're thinking rubbish. Even it's Dharma, we think in a wrong way about the Dharma. So it is necessary to consider a lot, to listen a lot to the right words.
No, no.
Otherwise, our own thinking drives us in the wrong direction.
Yeah, it's all about understanding. I mean, understand how is it. So like when Sarah said not to trust your own thinking, this means that if it's one's own thinking, it's just a thinking and it's wrong. And when it's panya understanding how Dhamma is and that's right, and other things are wrong. So it's just only one right way is panya.
Yes, and that moment of thinking which is wrong is a conditioned moment and has to be understood little by little. Nothing can be done, because even while we listen to the Dharma here, we may think of other things. We may go and do something else by conditions. So no choice at all. It all depends on what happens at that very moment. I think there was a story in Suttas I read where somebody were listening to Buddha and they just got up and walked away for some reason. And the Buddha said if he would have stayed there another 5 minutes, he would have become enlightened. So even the Buddha can't make somebody listen or do anything else, or it just all depends on conditions at that moment. So thinking is out of control at each moment, no choice at all. And intention is out of control. Everything is out of control, because there is no one who controls. It's just conditions that control.
I guess another personal experience. My very dear daughter does not understand conditions. Well, of course, not everybody understands it. She does not understand conditions. She does not understand how. She thinks, why would one wait for the conditions to arise? And I said, well, there's no one to wait for the conditions to arise. And I was trying to explain to her how conditions govern everything arising, that and what the conditions are. And she just said, but mom, you're still you're hoping for these conditions. I said, who's hoping? There's no need to hope, honey. there's no need to hope. It's panya, it's thinking, hoping. That's hoping, not need. Not need. There's no need. And
that's why go on, Betty. Sorry.
That's all right. I wonder, when I explain these things to my daughter, because it's my daughter, I'm emotionally involved with her. So there's an emotional attachment. So because there's an attachment there, there's an element of a gusala there. So it makes it very difficult for explaining the Dhamma to her. And then, of course, to my son, who's a monk, the monks already think they know more than people who are non-monks. And they're not about to listen either. So we have this. So those are the conditions on the Panyati level that make it difficult for me to, explain the Dhamma to them.
I have the same problem, Betty.
You do.
I have two sons. The same problem.
I mean, that's why interest in Dhamma is not interest in the words and explanations. It starts with interest in the understanding if there is Dhamma now to be known, if the study of Dhamma is now, right here, Dhamma is here. So rather than trying to explain about conditions, different conditions for this and that,
Among other things.
just talk about now. I mean, the seeing, did it arise because you wanted to make it arise? No. So if there's some understanding that seeing arose already by conditions, then there would be the real beginning, the real study of the Dhamma and interest about conditions. If not, then it's going to be, understandable that people ask about you're waiting for conditions and all that. These questions will arise. I mean, that's why Acharya is always reminding us about now.
That's true. That's what we always hear. What is happening now? What is arising now?
Perhaps, Betty, when your daughter's watching her favorite program, you could just switch it off and then say, how are you feeling now? How is that anger? Is that, did you expect it to rise?
Well, I mean, this is the very thing that happens. For instance, I will watch the news, and then I see news of these pros anti-Israel protests all around the world, and anger arises. And I said, oh, so I turn it off. I turn off I say, no, I'm not going to do that. Do something else. And but yet there is, so at least I can recognize, there can be recognition at that level, at least for me, this level, that there's anger arising, and that this is totally unproductive. It's a kusala. What thoughts could develop gusala in relation to what's happening on that TV screen, of a demonstration in favor of Palestine, and or something like that, or whatever it is. It can be some other issue, and for instance, one day it happened that I was watching this, and I said, I really feel sorry for these Palestinian people because they're being manipulated by Hamas, and their lives are being made terrible because of, anyway. But so that sometimes, if the thought arises, if there are the conditions for the thought to arise of something that is more of a kusala nature for whatever is happening outside of you, however there's whatever reaction is happening, whatever reaction is going to take to that which is happening outside of you. Of course, you're thinking in terms of panyatis instead of realities, and you think, or even if there's thinking of the realities, and there's still anger arising. If there's going to be a change in that, there has to be conditions that will condition more kusala thinking rather than agusala thinking, and that only comes when there's actual more gusala thinking, which can condition more gusala thinking. Yeah, each one is incremental on the other. That's another thing. I might feel sorry for those people who demonstrate because they're only producing more and more kusala. And they scream and they get angry and they start doing bad actions to other people, and you feel sorry for them because they're just creating more akusala, more anger, and more at a level which will lead to serious pathakama for them.
Yes, dangerous. Yeah. Anger's dangerous for everyone.
Yeah.
Who knows the next moment?
That's right. Who knows the next moment? At least with under some understanding of Dhamma, we can face the next moment much better than, say, somebody who does not study Dhamma. Because we haven't, and there's no way to know what the next moment is. And I think that's a blessing in a way, because
and it's not so dangerous when it's known as it is at that moment.
Yeah, that's right. When it's known as what it really is at the moment, then there's more calmness toward it. That's true. Okay, does anybody have further questions or comments to add to this discussion, or come up with other questions that people may have at home?
Yes, Betty, just in relation to what is being discussed, and it was being discussed last week too. And I found Jan's comments very helpful around this topic of what does it actually mean to be truthful to the truth. And one of the things that Jan said that kind of stayed with me was that the path begins when it comes true. And it seems that until that moment, and when it becomes true, I assumed described a moment of direct experience of a reality that was arising. When it becomes true, there is no doubt at that moment. And until then, in a sense, the only answer that we can have to is it true is really not yet. So and that's the progression that Ajahn talks about all the time, just little by little, just that very gradual, almost imperceptible development of understanding. And then at that unexpected moment, there it is.
And there also
it can be known.
Yeah, there also has to be patience as well, because a lot of people want, why don't I have understanding at 4 o'clock today? Or something like that. Without the realization that the understanding comes when the conditions are there, and that there's no one who can make the conditions arise when they want them to arise, because there's no one to do that, to make the conditions arise. They arise. But that's very true. It comes about when there is some, maybe not a total direct understanding. That was the highest level of understanding, but even with small incremental steps of some glimmer of understanding, that also starts to work for giving more confidence in the teachings and proving that they're true.
So Betty, not yet means not yet that level, but there is a beginning, right?
Not yet means not yet, and just patience.
Not yet means being truthful to this moment.
And that's also a recognition of truth, an idea that needs to be recognized as true. We're not there yet. It's not happened yet.
I mean, and realizing it's not there yet is at that time understanding with the paramis, including adhitthana, determination.
That's right. That's true. Yes, very much so. Okay. John, would you like to add some last comments to the discussion today?
I think that the most very, very good is understanding how deep Dhamma is. That's the only way to let go desire, attachment, and ignorance. It's beyond control because so much to be known, little by little, different stages too, not from hearing and then realizing. It's impossible because each word we have to have clear understanding. For example, there are not only citta, the reality which is the chief now experiencing the object, but there are also other realities unknown when it does not appear at all, but it's there. Learn to understand the truth that nothing can arise alone, and little by little, gradually, this is the way to let go, taking it so strongly that it's something or I. That's why just understanding few words like citta and the object and so on is not enough at all. The only way to have less attachment to that as something or I is to understand what else is there. For example, seeing is a reality conditioned to arise to see, and what are conditions for its arising? Otherwise, the idea of I or something cannot be eradicated at all. That's why, even right now, what can be known is only what can be known. Is it right? Or just pass it to other thing, not never to understand the moment of what is there at all. That's why the more understanding, the more being truthful that so many realities are known because they haven't been known so long. So how can they be instantly understanding the truth? Even doubt, how can it be ended, never to arise again? When there's the understanding of the truth to the degree that it enlightens the truth of what we are talking about right now. So it's I again and talking about, see? That's why the more considering about the truth of what is there, learn to understand a little more of each as it's there. For example, at moment of seeing, what is there, see? It's not known. If we haven't heard about it, there must be feeling, a reality arising together. But at that moment, even the feeling does not appear to be known, that it is indifferent feeling, because no thought about feeling. So how can there be the understanding that it's not just only seeing alone that has to be eradicated? The reality which is there in a day appearing can be known, so it can be eradicated until there's no condition for its arising anymore. For example, as doubt. There is doubt about seeing for sure, because it's not yet the moment of attending to the nature of seeing. So we just talk about the words about it, but not the understanding at moment of attending little by little, gradually understanding the reality which is not that which is seen. So the more we hear about the truth, it conditions a little more understanding and letting go ignorance until deity, wrong understanding, arising with ignorance and attachment can never arise again. To be truthful to the truth, little by little, is the moment of letting go attachment or any kind of wish to just realize it. So very soon, impossible. As long as it's there wishing, it hinders instantly, adding more ignorance and attachment truth to it. That's why just learn to understand that there's so much to be known, to be understood, little by little, stage by stage. So now, when doubt is not there, and while even there is understanding of the truth but not enough yet, there is doubt about higher understanding. See, even awareness, we have heard the word awareness, but at what moment it's there? Not moment of seeing, not moment of clinging. So we learn a little more about the truth that we live in darkness, no understanding what is what in darkness at all. Only there is light beginning to know what is there. Gradually, so very gradually, always in the world of darkness, of ignorance. How dark it is. Even it's so bright now, moment of seeing, but no understanding of the truth. So no understanding cannot be light at all. The light of Panya, the light of understanding. It sees what is there as it is, little by little, and understand it truly, how much understanding about that which is now appearing. And that's the only way for right understanding to develop on and on. And that's the way to understand anatta firmer and firmer. And I think that in order to have discussion or talk about the truth with anyone, the best thing is asking a question about the truth, but we don't say the truth. What is there? Little by little, for them to consider carefully. Even is there now? Can be asked. See, is there now? So it can go on to what is there now? When there is now, what is there now? And ask about what is there further and further. For if someone says is seeing that which is seen, and something like that. That's the way to have them consider a little more careful. Because each word of the Buddha should be there, haven't been forgotten. Even one word, Dhamma, Anatta, because usually no one thought about it, even one understand the meaning of it, just the meaning. But the truth is that it's there. If we don't use any term or word at all, it's there. And the nature of it is different from other reality, little by little. Learn to understand that the truth is so far to realize. Even it's there, but it's so far to realize the truth of it. Only right understanding gradually getting close to is there at the eye base, at the eye now seeing and hearing, not far away at all, so close. but so far to understand. And this is the only way to let go the very subtle attachment and ignorance about what is really there appearing. It's not known at all as it is. And this is the words of patience. Khanti Barami, Satya Barami to Nekama Barami, letting go. Ignorance, condition, attachment, and all kinds of akusala, unknown. And this kind of the word of truth can be studied closer and closer, more and more subtle. For example, Song Dhamma in Thai, that which has been understood, haven't it not forgotten? In a day, or even right now, we talk about many things, but that can be known of only a moment. What can be known? And this is the only way to be patient enough to understand the different degrees of understanding. Even the word like awareness, how many degrees? Bodhi begin with Satipatthana. What is patthana of sati? When there's no understanding, it's just only thinking by oneself to have only the idea about it's a Dhamma, it's not anyone, but that's not enough at all. Who says it's not anyone? See, it's the unknown until each reality is known as it is, no one. Just very short, conditioned to arise and gone. In samsara, non-stop. Until the first noble truth, what is the use? What is it precious? Just not to understand that which is not there as it's still there, right now. See? And the understanding of the truth develops in a moment, from moment to moment. See? And how many moments of the accumulation of ignorance and attachment and all other akusala accumulated? And what about the understanding of seeing right now begins to be accumulated? How many moments? Comparing to the moment of akusala, eons and eons, uncountable eons. And this is the understanding of the path, the Four Noble Truth. Firmer and firmer, no other way. That's why it's so precious to have Dhamma discussion, to listen to what Buddha said, to consider more and more that it's right now. And when it's not right now yet, why not? There must be conditions too. So it's time now. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดี
สวั
ค่ะ
สดีครับท่านอาจารย์
สวัสดีครับอาจารย์ครับ